Thanks for staying with us. It's still VSA. Now, insecurity in Nigeria has become a major concern, especially during this Yuletide season. Many people are now filled with fear and apprehension, making it difficult for them to travel or visit friends and family in other regions. The country has been plagued by various forms of violence, including insurgencies, communal clashes, banditry, just as recorded in those communities in Plateau State, which have significantly affected the Yuletide season, the safety and the security of its citizens. And according to my guest, there is no specific number. According to him, he can't give a particular estimate, but just by a guesstimate, you know that there are over 100 people dead just between Christmas Eve and Christmas Day, and still counting. These security challenges have created a hostile environment and have taken a toll on the festive spirit of the people. Kidnappings have also become the order of the day, and this makes people dread road trips because there's almost always a case of kidnapping somewhere. Now, sometimes they ask for ransom and still kill these people after collecting the money. So you can imagine how terrible it's been traveling on road. And this has gone on for so long, and it has become a norm. It's so bad that some of these attacks cannot even be traced to any particular reason or any set of persons. So oftentimes you realize that they're mostly unprovoked, making it more difficult to reach a resolution, in times like this. But anyways, that said, I will now be joined by my guests. First off, I'll be joined by the guest who we had in the first segment, Ambassador Melvin AJ, the Executive Director, Global Peace and Life Rescue Initiative, Plateau, Nigeria. Thank you, Ambassador AJ, for still staying with us.
Thank you very much.
All right. And during the course of the conversation, we'll also be having Adekoya Oyekachi, a security expert from Lagos, Nigeria, join us. But in the meantime, Ambassador AJ, how has insecurity in Nigeria generally affected this Yuletide season?
If I will say, to be very frank, in as much as it is seen to have been heightened, but in reality, as an expert, it has drastically reduced. It's better than what we used to have. Since the coming on board of the current president, who is barely 7 months, insecurity have drastically dropped. He appointed very credible service chiefs who are on top of their game. These are people that were commanders, they know what to do. And there is a better synergy between service chiefs now. So the layman would see that, insecurity is on the increase, but as an expert, I know that it has drastically dropped and it will surely get better because if you check the Northeast, completely there is no issue of Boko Haram, there is no issue of ISWAP again, except some isolated attack, guerrilla attacks that we're having in some very few communities. Then for the Northwest, it has actually dropped drastically. The level of attack, except for Zamfara, that we have some incident on the Christmas Eve, we have not had any major incident in Northwest lately. And the kidnapping on Lagos Ibadan Expressway, the Kaba, Kogi, Abuja Expressway, those areas have been down for a very long while. Naturally, during Yuletide season, we have new crop of criminals who will come and look for Xmas money and money for celebration. That's very normal, natural, but it has dropped from what it used to be. The current president is very serious about security. He's deliberate about it. If you look at his budget, the budget is very exclusive. Security budget is very exclusive. But it's actually the highest budget in the entire budget Nigerians have. So we expect that as they come on board next year, with equipment, with logistics, and more boots on ground, it will really get better. For me, the insecurity this period is better.
Right. And talking about movement during the Yuletide season, do you think that the fear of this insecurity has impacted people's travel plans, especially this season? I mean, let's use Abuja, for example. We've heard so many times, in fact, my sister told me just yesterday that the fear of kidnappings has not just restricted people's movement from Abuja to other cities, but there's also restricted movements within, Abuja, because there's fear of getting into one chance and getting kidnapped or getting robbed and all that. So do you think the fear of insecurity has so much impacted people's travel plans?
Definitely, I agree it has affected people's travel plan because sometimes the fear is more than the incident itself, and people don't really have money, so it's very traumatic for people who are struggling to find their source of livelihood, to go and looking for money for ransom or to give to one chance. So people are careful, but it doesn't mean that insecurity have actually increased this period. I disagree with people because the indices are there. We get this report every day. We see where crime happens. So I can tell you for free that the security situation have improved. But sure, the fear impacted people from traveling because it is really like Abuja town. One of the issues we have in Nigeria is that people don't want to own the security. They have left it in the hand of the military. They have left in the hand of the police instead of owning the process, instead of supporting our security agencies. Until we begin to support them and trust them and share information with them, we will not get it better. This is something we must get clearly. If we don't support them and share intelligence with them, we will not get it. Some of these kidnappers are our neighbors. They are our friends. They are our boyfriends. They are our boyfriend's brother. So we know them. They live within us. We know them. For somebody who is not working, who is not doing anything, driving flashy cars, buying flashy phones, you won't ask them. You won't report them. What magic do you want the security agencies to do? What magic would they do? They don't have telescope where they start seeing people's heart and say, okay, this one is a criminal, this one is not a criminal. So I think this whole matter lies with the society. We are breeding most of these criminals. We are encouraging them because of our behavior. When people make money, they go and collect cheap title, they celebrate them, they buy big car. Nobody asks you where you get this money from. Until we begin to discourage some of this crime, we'll continue to have this incident. The security agencies won't do otherwise. They live in their barracks. So there's information they cannot get except we volunteer for them. So I think the community must own this process. We must support our security agencies, encourage them as well. Let's talk about their welfare. What is even their welfare? How encouraged are they by the government of the day, the government before now? How encouraged are they by the society? These are issues we need to look at before we talk about insecurity. On the whole, I agree with you that the fear of crime have impacted people from traveling. I agree with you.
You know, we're still talking about discouraging crime, and I like that you mentioned that, you know, these people might be our boyfriends, our brothers' friends, our brothers, in fact. But there's also speculations, right, that some of these security agencies, you know, these kidnappers and armed robbers have them on a chokehold. Now, we're not saying that that's for sure, but there are usually issues like that once in a while. So what can be done in that kind of situation where in an area where there are security agencies that should be monitoring these activities, they have been bought over? What can be done?
That speculation is not out of place. It's not unfounded. Sometimes it will be true, but you can't. I won't agree that it's all of them. There are some security agencies that have integrity. Some of them have absolute integrity, and they will keep to any information you give them. And some of them have not been compromised. A lot of them have not been compromised. I urge Nigerians, when they have credible information, they should share with the highest people in the security. Those ones cannot be reached by these criminals. Most cases, they cannot be reached. In every general, they say there's an exception. I agree that they are very corrupt officers. I do agree with you. But we can't generalize them. We can't generalize them that all of them are bad. So let's trust them. Let's begin to open our heart to them. We have worked so much with them, and we know that there are some of them who have high level of integrity, who does not have anything to do with crime, who will keep every information we give them private and will use it judiciously for the betterment of the society. But this issue, this gossip we hear from Biapalo that, oh, when you give them information, they will go and tell the criminals, some of them are criminal. This is where the problem is. Have we trusted them enough? Can we call 1, 2 names of people we have shared information with and they misuse it? Let's expose them as well. This is my concern. So Nigerians will begin to trust our security agencies. We'll begin to work with them as partners. We work with them now as enemies. We work with them as people who are also part of the problem. And that's where we continue to have this problem. We must share intelligence. We must work with them effectively.
Right. Now, Ambassador, again, by my own guesstimate, and of course by the statistics that we see in the news, oftentimes, we realize that insecurity is more prevalent in the north. Why is that so?
Poverty and hunger. Poverty, hunger, and illiteracy. These are the major causes. And you see, when people blame security agencies, sometimes we don't want to talk. How much are we holding our government responsible for not empowering the people? How much are we holding our legislature responsible for not doing the needful? Money that is meant for development, money that is meant for education, you convert to your personal use. The youth are jobless. What do you expect them to do? Most of them who don't have integrity, who don't have the patience, who indulge into crime. When people are hungry, it's only very few ones that can be patient. So we must address the issue of hunger, we must address the issue of illiteracy, we must address the issue of poverty in our land. Northern Nigeria is so backward. There is no business is thriving in that part of the country. If you want to do agriculture, you don't have the input, you don't have the resources to go into agriculture. So people who don't have mind, who are not patient, they go into crime. That has been the problem. So government must also develop infrastructure. Like this terrain where we have this attack in Mango and Bokos now. If successful government have built roads to this community, it would have been easy to access them. But there are no road, there is no electricity, there is no light. Are you saying the STF, the soldiers come and provide roads and water for and this for you, even though they are doing that? So our government must be deliberate about developing our community, about developing its youth, about empowering the women and children. We must begin to deliberately empower the communities, take them out of poverty, take them out of hunger, and we'll have less crime in northern Nigeria and Nigeria at large.
All right. Now, this is without us trying to rehash the past, but there are several times that we've had issues of insecurity pop up, and we've adopted different measures, right? There was this time that there was a rehabilitation program for some of these bandit or members, alleged members of bandits who were arrested and then released back into society. We've had so many measures, but again, without having to rehash the past, are there any specific measures that are in place right now that is sure to guarantee the safety of the people going forward? Are there any measures, any plans?
Sure. Like I told you, this government is a very serious government. As I speak to you now, the Vice President of the Federal Government of Nigeria, the National Security Advisor, the Chief of Defense Staff, the Chief of Defense Intelligence are all in just Plateau State. This alone is reassuring. If this was happening in the past, the criminals would have known that it's a serious government, but this didn't happen. They will kill people, all they will just do in the villa and just stay and condemn. They will keep what they just do in the villa and just stay and condemn. But President Tinubu issued a statement yesterday, and today the Vice President is already in town. And all the senior officials in security are already here in Jos and are holding stakeholder meetings to ensure that this crisis is finished. They came in with more troops, they came in with more special forces on the plateau. So I assure you that in no time the issue will be gone. I assure that in no time the issue will be gone. And I'm sure they are doing that in every place. What happened in Tudunberi last time? You saw the level of government response. That is what a responsible government will do. I'm not to say that just issue me and say we are on top of it. No, you can't be on top of it when Nigerians are dying. So I think the step this government is taking, both federal government and the state government, is very, very reassuring. And the criminals will also know that this is not business as usual.
Right. Now, in every situation, there are things that the government can do. There are things that the security agencies can do. But at the same time, there are things that individuals can do. So in this situation, what steps would you say that individuals can take to ensure their safety, especially during this holiday season?
I think individuals should begin to go to the communities and begin to support them. They have a lot of needs in those communities. Individuals who are doing where if you go, you see where children cannot even buy diapers. There is no water. There's no drugs. While we're waiting for government, individuals should step in to begin to counsel them. The trauma there is so much. I think we need to go and begin to preach the issue of trauma counseling. Let's begin to speak to those ones who are traumatized, offer shelter, offer clothing, offer toiletries, and offer some level of food support before government steps in. Naturally, government will sure come in. The president have ordered for relief material. I'm sure they will come in shortly. But individuals of goodwill should begin to step in because they really need all of us. If you send in diapers, it's going to do a lot. Sending foodstuff is going to do a lot. If you go there and just speak to the people, give them hope, it will really go a long way. Then for NGOs, I think organizations also should move in. One of the issues we have why this crisis have continued to reoccur in Plateau is the issue of trauma. For instance, if a child whose father is killed and that father seems to be his only source of livelihood or the only source of livelihood he has, the breadwinner, that child will never forgive the suspected marauder. He won't forgive him. So I think NGOs must step in to go to the communities and begin to de-traumatize the traumatized people. They should go to wherever they are and begin to preach the issue of forgiveness. We must learn to forgive. The community must learn to forgive. Otherwise, we're going to have a continuous cycle of violence.
Right. I like the angle from which you answered, but also in terms of security in itself, individuals need to take precautionary measures. So what advice can you give to people this season? What can they do to stay safe themselves?
They should report any suspicious movements. They should do more by sharing intelligence with our security agencies. They should also cooperate with security agencies. Some of them are so angry with the military, with the police, with the DSS, and they are not sharing information. If you are angry with the security agency and not sharing information, you are not doing it, you're actually doing yourself. They should open up, speak out where they have reason to speak out. Like this afternoon, I saw a video where somebody was mentioning the name of one of the person that attacked them. Like he saw them yesterday. He saw them coming. He called their name. And I think that information has been forwarded to the appropriate authority. So I think individuals should come out and speak. If you see anybody, if you hear any voice and look at the voice of somebody you know, speak out so that they can be interrogated and prosecuted.
The issue of insecurity has affected people's travel plans, right? From one region to another region, people are scared to travel. So imagine what people in the diaspora are thinking now. Now imagine what tourists are thinking. Do you think that this has had any effect on the economy and the tourism sector in Nigeria?
It has had a lot impact on the tourism sector, and that's one of the reasons why the president, I'm sure, is working on the security. Because where there is no security, you can't talk about any investment. The tourism is one part of Nigeria, is one sector in Nigeria, that we can generate billions of dollars from if only it's properly harnessed. Now, because of the insecurity, people are afraid of coming back to Nigeria. I agree with you because some of the pictures that international news are painting out there, it will scare anybody that wants to come to Nigeria. So the earlier the better. Government should do everything possible to end this issue of insecurity. I appreciate their efforts so far. They should step out every action. And one of the problems we had, I want to speak here on national television, is the Federal Ministry of Finance that have put fund. Monies allocated to security agencies are not released promptly. They should prioritize money for security, for logistics, and for recruitment. They should prioritize it. They need to get gadgets. Like these communities, before we get good road, before we get access road, this community should have gadgets where you can watch from 20, 30 kilometers. That will help them in response time. When people are dropping down from the mountains, you are seeing them. When they are driving in bikes, you are seeing them. It enables you to respond quickly. But people just expect our security agents to do magic. You just sit there in Manguta and know that something's happening in Bokos. It's not very possible. It's not very possible. So I think it has affected a lot in our tourism sector.
Do you think that there are any plans by maybe the federal government and the state government to increase the number of security personnel deployed to these areas, especially the vulnerable areas that are more prone to these attacks?
Sure. Like I just told you now, as of today, more deployment have been made. Special forces have been brought in. They have been brought in and they are deploying them currently as I speak to you now. Right. They are deploying them to that area and other areas where people suspect that they will go. They are not just deploying to that area. They are making a general deployment on the plateau. The routes that these people they suspect people come from, all the routes are being controlled currently as I speak to you. Arrests have been made graciously. I can confirm to you.
All right. On that note, I want to say a very big thank you to you, Ambassador Melvin AJ, Executive Director, Global Peace and Life Rescue Initiative, Plateau, Nigeria. Thank you for joining us and, of course, for shedding more light on this development. And we really do hope that there is an end to the carnage very soon and security is guaranteed for the citizens of Nigeria as a whole. Thank you once again.
Thank you very much. Our NSPA as well. Thank you.
All right, this is what we call it a wrap on VSA. It's still the Yuletide season. Please ensure you stay safe. Wishing you compliments of the season and Happy New Year in advance. Do join us in our next episode as we discuss issues across the African continent. And stay with us. The news comes up next. I'm Blessings Musugu. It's been VSA.